maliwanag na based on the letter of authority na in-issue ng Bureau of Customs, they could have broken down the locks, the gate, of the warehouse, no? Dito sa Kawit, Cavite, pero hindi nila ginawa at naghintay pa ng 3 araw bago finally ma-implementa. So hindi katanggap-tanggap yon dahil maliwanag na may kapangyarihan silang i-breakdown ito. So yung observation ng isang nating kasamahan, si Senator Erwin, na maaring nagkakaroon ng behind the scenes na negosasyon, posible yon, no? And that's why kailangan pa rin ituloy itong pagdinig para malaman natin sino ba ang mga nasa likod nito. And that's also why because of the lying nitong si Mr. Xi na isang Chinese national na inamin niya na siya ay nasa likod nitong pag-lease, siya ang nag-uupa nung cold storage number 8, warehouse number 8 na nahuli itong produktong smuggled na mga karne ay nakapiit ngayon. Importante yan dahil siya ang makakaturo dito sa mga sino pang mga nasa likod ng mga Chinese nationals. We have their names and we thank yung Immigration Bureau dahil sa kanila nahuli itong isa sa mga Chinese nationals na sa likod nitong 100 million pesos worth of smuggled goods. Nakikita rin natin na malakas ang kapit nitong grupong ito dahil saan ka nakakita? May 2024, yung raid, 100 plus million pesos worth of frozen meat, pati isda. Pero hanggang sa ngayon, 1 year and a half after, wala pa rin kasong sinasampa laban dito sa mga nasa likod nito. Katakataka rin yung inutusan magkaroon ng investigasyon ng commissioner ng customs noong nakaraang commissioner, yung last ex-commissioner na ngayon, pero walang resulta ang kanilang investigasyon. Kung hindi pa namin pinilit o kaya pinilit itong kasong ito at hiningi ang tulong ng BID, hindi pa mahuhuli. Nariyan lang pala. And so, makikita mong malaki ang nasa likod nito. May hawak sa customs, may hawak ng mga Chinese nationals. And therefore, yung teorya natin na mayroong sindikato ng China-based na sindikato na pinapasok itong mga smuggled na mga produktong agrikultura, kasabot ang ilang mga opisyal ng pamahalaan. And so we're still pursuing this investigation.
Sir, tingin po kayo kung sino yung protector nila from the government?
Meron, pero confidential pa sa ngayon dahil we have to keep it under wraps, the information, because we're precisely pursuing the investigation. We have leads, although we need validation.
Taga-customs, mga taga-customs.
Taga-customs, parang kumbaga sa flood control scandal, meron taga-customs, merong mga diskaya type ng mga private sector at matataas na opisyal.
So, pwedeng dito siya mag-Christmas hanggat hindi siya nagsasalita. So, hanggat hindi na kayo pag-cooperate.
Si Mr. San Andres at si Mr. Xi. Dalawang kaso yan. Kung kay Mr. San Andres, 100 milyong pisong halaga ng smuggled na mga produktong agrikultura, yung Berches, yung EPCB, no, na palusot, at yung Berches, 130 million pesos worth of agri-products ang nasabat. Pero yung nakapangalan na consignee isang Panda delivery driver. Paano nalusot yan sa BOC? Malaking katanungan. Sino ang nagpondo nung 100 milyong halaga na pinasok? Isang katanungan din yan. Hindi mangyayari yan kung mayroong masusing paghabol dito sa mga smuggler na ito. Wala pa rin nakukulong na financer, na smuggler mula nung naipasa yung batas na non-bailable ang economic sabotage since 2016. Wala pa rin. Bakit? 127 na kasong smuggling, nasabat yung produkto mula 2021 hanggang 2025. Pero 4 lang ang nasampahan ng kaso, pero wala pa rin financer na nakukulong ng non-bailable na offense. Bakit? At 90% nung mga kaso na na-dismiss ay dahil hindi na sumite yung official, original records galing sa BOC. And therefore, clearly, malaking operation ito involving a lot of money and a lot of officials a number of officials sa gobyerno, DA, BOC, maybe even immigration, maybe even NBI and PNP, no?
Sir, what do you tend to do na yung sa mga officials na sumasabit ng paulit-ulit sa mga ganitong issues? For example, Sir, yung Joel Pinawi, no? He was previously mentioned by Paruba in dating consignee nung Shabu shipment. Pinakitaan pa ng mga text messages. Pero hindi na si Bak. I don't know if he was ever charged for that incident. Kasi as you previously mentioned, may mga hindi naman to first time, may paulit-ulit to. Pero ang mga nakakasuhan, kung may nakakasuhan man, yung mga importers lang, yung mga nag-facilitate nung shipment, pero yung mga taga-BOC mismo or taga-BAI or DA, hindi naman nakakasuhan, hindi din nasisibak.
Well, abangan, because we are still continuing with the investigation and we will make the necessary recommendations. Pero we are in coordination with Commissioner Ariel Nepomuceno, who has assured us na sila ay aktibong iniimbestigahan. In fact, naka-floating ngayon ang ilan sa kanila at we expect na dapat masampahan ng mga kaso itong mga nakikipagsabuatan sa mga financier. We have enough evidence, no? That is my view, no, na meron nang pwedeng sampahan ng kaso, whether nasa BOC or even in the DA. So tingnan natin, abangan natin.
Sir?
Yes. Go ahead.
Sir, Bicam lang. Member po kayo, no, sir?
Yes.
Sir, kaya ba within 3 days lang po yung matapos lahat nung...
Adapt nila yung Senate version. Tapos to kaagad.
Yes, sir. Is that your call, sir? Adopt the Senate version.
Siyempre, nirerespeto natin yung prerogative ng House, no? But sana, no, we are able to fast track this and hindi naman natin pipilitin that they adopt our version, no? Biro lang naman yun. But that could be one way of speeding it up.
Sir, gaano kasigurado na malinis na po yung 2026 budget after nang inabot na kontrobersya ng 2025 budget?
Well, kaya nga, bantayan natin yung BICAM, di ba? Tiyakin natin na hindi na maulit yung mga insertions na nangyari noon at maging transparent lahat. So, open BICAM, dapat tiyakin yan para kwentas claras, no? At everything is transparent.
Sir, pero yung pinasa po ng Senate, 100% malinis na, sir?
I believe so. By and large, as best as we could, yung mga coordinates, yung mga tagging, geotagging, tiniyak natin yan. Tapos merong transparency portal para at any given time alam at maliwanag saan ang proyekto, ano ang proyekto, para hindi na mangyari itong ghost project. So by and large, I believe at this point na malaki ang naging improvement sa ating proseso ng pag-aproba ng ating general appropriations measure.
Yung 100% na malinis, DPWH lang yun, sir? Or the general budget?
Well, sinama as a rule, the general budget, how do you call it, allocations, no? Pero syempre, ang infrastructure kasi hindi lang sa DPWH yan, di ba? You have education infrastructure, you have agriculture infrastructure, you have transportation, communication infrastructure. So, kailangan talagang bantayan itong kaya nga yung blockchain measure na lahat ng expenditures ng gobyerno except for perhaps those involving national security, kinakailangan real time na monitor ng ating mga kababayan at iba-ibang mga grupo, no? And I think moving forward also, may iwasan talaga yung mga nangyayaring kalokohan kung may napaparusahan. At yun naman talaga ang gusto mangyari at panawagan ng ating mga kababayan, di ba? Dapat ikulong at dapat managot yung mga nagkasala. And that's why I will segue. We hope na pagka nabalangkas na ng husto at na-debate na ng husto yung IPC, yung Independent People's Commission, in its final version, given all the amendments, sana ma-certify ng Pangulo as urgent so that we can pass it on second and third reading before we go on recess, if it's certified.
Sir, di enough na isama lang sa LEDAC, no? Yung
Right now, ang kasama sa LEDAC is about 48 measures. So, all these are priority measures. 48. No? So, that ibig sabihin, 48 ang kinakailangan ipasa na priority measures. We only have how many more days to go, di ba? If we want to really prioritize, the certification will really help.
Will it be better, sir, kung certified as urgent yung IPC?
Yes, because nga hindi naman lahat ng priority measures ng LEDAC certified as urgent.
How about the anti-political dynasty
Same.
party list?
Same. In the previous Congresses, I think the 18th Congress, umabot sa committee report nung ako ang chairman ng Committee on Constitutional Amendments. Majority of the members of the committee endorsed the anti-dynasty measure during my watch as chairman. And we hope, again, that a majority will support it and therefore maipasa ito. The other track, siguro pag-aralan ng Supreme Court. Kasi merong, if I'm not mistaken, around 10 petitions before the Supreme Court on to declare political dynasties as contrary to the Constitution. No? So, that is another, sabihin na natin, track na mag-rule ng Supreme Court kung ano ang definition ng political dynasty in the cases that are pending before them. Nagawa naman nila ng ruling sa ibang mga bagay na sabi nga nila, the Constitution is what the Supreme Court says it is. Isang justice ng US Supreme Court yan. So, that is also, kung gusto pakinggan ng ating kagalang-galang ng mga mahistrado ng Korte Suprema, ang daing ng taong bayan, at magkaroon ng ruling on the issue, the 10 petitions, if I'm not mistaken, on the constitutionality of the political dynasties.
Supreme Court ba mag-define kung yung dynasty? Hindi ba Congress? Kailangan i-define yun?
40 years na. 1987. to 2027. Di ba? 40 years na yung ating saligang batas eh. Eh hanggang ngayon hindi pa ginagawa ng Kongreso. Sana maipasa ng Kongreso, pero kung hindi, merong judicial legislation na kung tawagin.
Pero so paano may ipapakita ng presidente na talagang gusto niya ito? Kasi yun nga, sinama po sa LEDAC, but ano yung kailangang effort or categorical?
Well, under the Constitution, he can put his imprimatur by certifying it as urgent. So, hopefully, di ba? Kung baga, in-identify na niya eh. The next step is i-certify na natin ng urgent, Mr. President, para mangyari.
Message yun sa Congress na gusto ko to.
Yes. Well, it's already a message na in-include niya sa LEDAC, but there are 48 measures. No? So which of the 48 measures ang uunahin at talagang priority, by certifying it as urgent, that would be a signal to all of us in Congress, in the Senate and in the House.
Sir, on the IPC, kung hindi i-certify as urgent yung IPC, walang pag-asa mong mapasa?
Hindi, mapapasa, hindi lang agad. Pero may kayang maipasa, hindi lang agad.
Pero not before the break.
Mahihirapan dahil we only have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 or 7 session days. Diba? So, mahihirapan. Merong urgency dahil nga nag-resign si Secretary Babe Singson. So, lalong nabawasan yung mga sundalo, na lumalaban para sa accountability sa ICI. So, tapos, wala ring armas. Walang bala.
Kung hindi mo certify as urgent, possible po na January maipasa. Parang sabi kasi ni SP, pwede daw yung paspasan by January.
Yes, that's the next best thing, di ba? Pero sana kung hindi ma-certify ngayon ng urgent, i-certify ng urgent sa January, mas mabilis pa rin natin maipapasa.
Sir, during the BICAM meeting, may sasalang na ba siya sa plenary meetings?
What do you mean? During?
Sa IPC bill po.
Yes. In fact, nag-umpisa kahapon.
I mean, are we still on track po? And then assurance lang din na hindi siya duplication ng trabaho ng Department of Justice and also ng...
Well, during the hearings, ang paliwanag ni former Chief Justice Puno, na extraordinary times require extraordinary remedies. It is an extraordinary remedy because nga ang trabaho ng pag-iimbestiga talaga under the Constitution and our laws would be either the Department of Justice, di ba? Yung corruption cases, or the Ombudsman. Pero dahil nga unique, this is the largest corruption scandal sa kasaysayan ng bansa. And involving individuals who are very, very powerful, extremely powerful, di ba? So, bigyan natin ng sapat na kapangyarihan yung isang komisyon para matiyak, na maimbestigahan ng lubos itong skandalo na ito. Alam nyo, sabi nga ng ICI, sa ghost projects pa lang, mga 400 ghost projects na na-identify. Sa 400 na yun, sabihin natin 15 ang masasakdal. So doon pa lang libo na. Di ba? Ang mga akusado. Di ba? So it's malaki. And ghost project lang yun. Hindi pa kasama yung substandard, hindi pa kasama yung rigging, etc. Di ba? So we need a extraordinary approach to this, and the IPC is one such extraordinary approach. Plus, para ma-avoid itong conflict, di ba? Nilagay natin sa panukalang batas ang isang probisyon na minamandato ang Department of Justice at ang Ombudsman to create separate prosecution teams that will support in the investigation being undertaken by the People's Commission. Kaya sa day one pa lang, they are all on the same page already. So that is to avoid yung after the fact-finding ng commission, isasubmit sa ombudsman, tapos ang ombudsman o ang DOJ, magpa-fact-finding ulit. Di ba? Dahil kasama na sila sa simulat sa poll.
Sir, clarify. Itong IPC, wala itong prosecutorial power. Kasi sabi ni Senator Franklin Dillon, kapag meron, nadideclare yan unconstitutional.
Wala siyang prosecutorial powers. That's why you put you create two teams. The Ombudsman Prosecutorial Team and the Department of Justice Prosecutorial Team.
So, fact-finding lang talaga, sir.
Fact-finding, yes, but they also have the power to freeze, the power to subpoena and to cite witnesses in contempt. They can deputize the NBI, the PNP, the CIDG. Pagka sinabi kasing deputize, they will have supervision and control over the entities that have been deputized in terms of controlling and supervising them in the conduct of the investigation. So, yan, dagdag na kapangyarihan yan. The power to grant immunity in other words, merong witness protection component. Kaya natin sinama yan dahil siyempre, kumbaga, yung example na binigay ko noon, paano ko yung matataas na opisyal ng Department of Justice, halimbawa lang, ang involved, di ba? Tapos mag-a-apply ka ng witness protection sa Department of Justice mismo. So medyo doon makokompromiso, di ba, yung proseso. That's why let's give the Independent People's Commission that power involved to, di ba? Tapos accept state witnesses. Same yung criteria niya dito sa Witness Protection Program.
So, confident kayo na hindi mo question yung constitutionality ng IPC?
Well, we did our best, and I'm confident. Of course, there will always be those who will question it. Pero kung gusto talaga ng accountability, di ba, pati ng ating mga korte, di ba? Wag nilang pigilan itong Independent People's Commission, di ba? Bigyan, suportahan nila.
Sir, on anti-political dynasty lang, sir, what are the chances of it getting passed this time? Considering na yung concerns nga po ng marami sa mga members of Congress are part of political families.
Well, mahirap, di ba? Dahil, kumbaga, kung madali yan, bakit 40 years na, wala pa? Di ba? So, mahirap. So, we'll see. Again, tayo, we support it. Di ba? Ako, wala namang kaming political dynasty. No? Ako lang ang politiko sa pamilya namin. Ayun. So, we support it. We believe the Constitution mandates it. And therefore, we are obligated by the Constitution to craft and pass and enact an anti-dynasty law.
Sir, dun sa case ng IPC, how would you address yung question of yung weaponizing the ICI after it's being to be enacted into law?
Well, dalawa yan. Una yung composition. Maliwanag dun sa ating panukalang batas, ang ilan sa mga uupo ay manggagaling sa akadim, halimbawa, na non-partisan yan at non-political dapat, di ba? At manggagaling sa sektor ng mga professional entities and organizations. Tulad, kukuha tayo ng nominations from, halimbawa, the United Architects of the Philippines, kung kinakailangan isang architect. O kaya, yung Retired Supreme Court Justices Association. In other words, get professionals to be appointed, number one. And number two, meron dong mandato to engage civil society organizations, private entities and groups, independent organizations para makasama dito sa fact-finding. So in other words, open up the process to include the private sector, ordinary citizens. Kasi pagka mayroong transparency, mas matitiyak yung accountability at hindi aabusuhin. Kasama din doon sa provision ang membership ng yung civil society and non-government organizations with proven track records. So dito, hindi lamang mga politiko o hindi politiko at hindi mga nasa gobyerno ang uupo. And that's why we believe it's going to be an independent commission and not and given the powers, di ba, na bibigay natin sa kanila, palagay ko, sabi nga, walang magiging sacred cows. Thank you.